Hi guys, so yes, I am back with a good old tier list video. So today I will be ranking my favourite film franchise of all time. Yes, you heard me, my favourite. Yes, more than the Harry Potter films, more than Marvel, more than Star Wars, yes, the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films, or anyway, the Tolkien verse is my favourite film franchise of all time. So yes, I just thought got to do a tier list on this at some point, and I might start doing more film franchise tier list videos in the months to come. So I thought let's start off then with the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, and that too, I guess. So obviously we all know the Lord of the Rings films, that widely regarded as the greatest film trilogy of all time. You know, people will have the arguments like whether there are other great cinematic trilogies out there. But for me, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is the absolute goat of film trilogies. In my opinion, nothing even comes close. Maybe you could make an argument for Star Wars, maybe, or Back to the Future, or the Dark Knight trilogy. But for me, Lord of the Rings is the cream of the crop. So let's start off then with the Fellowship of the Ring, which came out in 2001, all those years ago. Now, these will be graded on the extended editions, especially for the Hobbit films. So, yes, not just the theatrical versions, the extended editions, which is the way you are meant to watch The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. So, yes, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, yeah, we all know S. It's going to be quite straightforward for Lord of the Rings. Yeah, S tier, absolutely phenomenal film. Many people regard it as their favourite of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but everyone's got a favourite film, I think, for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But yeah, Fellowship of the Ring is just fantastic when it all gets started when Frodo gets the one ring from Bilbo, and he must set off with the Fellowship from Rivendell to go and destroy the ring made by the Dark Lord Sauron, along with the fellowships you have Gandalf, Aragorn, Gimli, good old Gimli, the other hobbits, Legolas, Boromir in this film, Sean Bean, and it's just great. It was iconic. The film won 4 Oscars. I believe Ian McKellen was nominated for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor as Gandalf. Not did he win or not? I don't think he won. No, but he definitely a nomination. Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, we've all seen it, so I don't want to go into full detail, but it's just iconic. I could go back and watch this film anytime, just being engulfed in it. You know, all the extended editions of all three Lord of the Rings are like what 3.5. I think Return of the King is like 4.5. It's just crazy, but it's an incredible film. The epic Balrog battle with Gandalf and Moria, the Moria battle sequence, the ending of the film where the Uruks track them down. There's a big fight with the Uruks and Boromir sacrifices himself. It's just great, man. I could go on and on, but yeah, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring gets S tier without a doubt. Then Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Yeah, another S tier. While it probably is my maybe if I had to pick maybe my least favorite of the Lord of the Rings trilogy by maybe like a smidge, but it still definitely is a legendary film and deserves to go in S tier. It is just continues right where we left off from Fellowship of the Ring. Frodo and Sam are still on their way to Mordor. We meet Gollum for the first time, which is great. We get introduced to Rohan. You know, this is the film where Isengard basically are the ones, or Saruman with his big army, and to go and take Helm's Deep. And of course, we get an incredible battle at the end, the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is just legendary. We meet Theoden. Like I said, we already meet a few characters from Rohan. Gandalf the White, you know, when he appears, that's really cool. Even though I much prefer Gandalf the Grey's character, but Gandalf the White's still cool. Yeah, there's much more I could say, but like the battle at the end, like I said, was absolutely fantastic. Frodo and Sam's journey with Gollum is very interesting. It's great. Yeah, Two Towers is fantastic. Like I said, probably is my least favorite, but still is great. I mean, the Ents are a little bit, yeah, take them or leave them. But when they attack Isengard at the end, release the river. That was it. And Sam's big epic speech at the end of the film when they're in Osgiliath. That yeah, so it's yeah. Two Towers gets S tier, and then on to Return of the King S tier. This is probably no, it is my favorite film of all time. It's just legendary. Return of the King is yeah, it probably is till the day I die. It'll be my favorite film of all time. It's just words cannot express how much I love Return of the King. Like I said, especially the extended edition, which is I think 4.5 hours. I went to go and see the extended edition in the cinema earlier this year with me and a hundred of the Lord of the Rings fans, and it was just epic, just sitting there, I've become completely absorbed watching it on the big screen. You know, the final chapter where Sam and Frodo are getting closer and closer to destroying the One Ring, but then Gollum's treacherous nature, where he betrays them. Um, you have the massive battle at Minas Tirith, where Sauron releases his massive army. It's just an incredible siege. Theoden with the charge of the Rohirrim, just one of the most iconic battle charge, cavalry charge scenes in film history. It gives me the shivers, gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Oh, do 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 do. Aragorn with the army of the dead and becoming the king. Reforging Isildur's sword. What else is in this? I think that's the main points, and then of course the big battle at the end where they've got to distract Sauron's army, and Frodo finally destroys the One Ring, and it's just epic. And then my friends, you bow to no one. Oh, the film has like 4 different endings, where Frodo leaves to go and be on the White High Havens or something, with the elves and Bilbo, and the goodbyes are dead sad. And it's just epic, man. And Sam is the goat in this film. Samwise Gamgee carrying Frodo to the summit was just yeah. I could talk about this film for hours and hours. I love Return of the King. Like I said, extended edition. It is the goat of all films, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, Return of the Two Towers and Fellowship of the Ring are still S tiers, but yeah, actually, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm not even sure if this counts as a tier, but I mean, Return of the King deserves its own. Not my, hang on, where is plus? Hang on, it's dark in here. Yeah, Return of the King gets. Let's just change that color because it looks a bit weird. Black. Yeah, that looks not. Black doesn't work. Hang on, guys. Bear with me, guys. Grey. Fine. Yeah. S plus for Return of the King. Yeah. Okay then, and then on to the Hobbit films, which I think definitely do split opinions with Lord of the Rings fans. Obviously, the hype was huge when the film got announced back in like 2010, 2011, and we saw the first trailer with Martin Freeman playing Bilbo Baggins on Bilbo's quest to reclaim Erebor with the company of Thorin Oakenshield with Gandalf the Grey, set about 60 years before Lord of the Rings. Of course, based off the book, but I think I'll get to the 3 films again. Lord of the Rings is 3 films off 3 big chunky books, where The Hobbit was 3 films off 1 moderate-sized book. Oh, so anyway. So, like I said, I've been judging these off the extended editions. So, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey is gonna get. This is quite tricky, actually. I like it, so I know some fans didn't because it was very slow. Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. Oh, I'm gonna give it a B. Yeah, I like The Hobbit: Unexpected Journey. It is very slow, but I like that about it, especially the extended edition with like 3.5 hours. But I think it's still really good. It's great cast. Richard Armitage is great as Thorin. Gandalf is as great as ever as Ian McKellen's great as ever as Gandalf. Martin Freeman is perfectly cast as a young Bilbo. The action scenes are great with the wargs, the big goblin fight near the end of the film, when the White Orc chasing them down. We've got some really cool flashbacks of Thorin in battle scenes. It has a strong supporting cast with the dwarves. Some Lord of the Rings characters making an appearance in this, like when they go to Rivendell. You see Saruman and Galadriel too. I really like The Hobbit. But it doesn't get A or S tier because I just think it is a bit slow. And I think what holds the Hobbit trilogy, the Hobbit films back, is that it just did not need to be 3 films. You could have done the Hobbit book in 1 long film, or maybe 2 reasonably long films. The Hobbit trilogy did not need to be 3 films, which I said I'll get to. So, but it still is great. But I just think it does. The pace does really hurt it sometimes. Of course, I forgot to mention the incredible Gollum scene where Bilbo meets Gollum and gets the One Ring. That was an amazing scene, and they're doing riddles together. But it doesn't quite get A or S tier for me because I just think the pace does hurt it. Radagast the Brown was a bit annoying. But yeah, it's definitely not bad. I know some fans do not like the first Hobbit, but it's going to get B for me, the first Hobbit film, yeah. Then on to The Desolation of Smaug, the second Hobbit film. That is going to get A. I really like Desolation of Smaug. It was a bit of, like I said, a bit of a step up from Unexpected Journey. There was had a bit more pace, had a bit more direction, slightly better fight scenes. It introduces a lot more characters. We introduce Thranduil, uh, Bard from Lake Town. We meet a younger Legolas in this film, even though Orlando Bloom looked a lot older. Tauriel, Gandalf's quest to go to Dol Guldur, and you discover it's Sauron. He's back. He's building up his forces again. That was a big reveal. Built the haunted forest bit in Mirkwood with the spiders was really cool. The amazing action scene on the lake, where they're on the river, and they're on the barrels. That was really, really cool because they're still getting hunted down by Azog and Bolg. And like I said, Gandalf's reveal with Sauron. Oh, that was so cool. And the end of the film where they get to Erebor, and we that incredible scene with Bilbo and Smaug, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. That was just incredible to watch in the cinema. I remember watching it, and yeah, it's just Smaug was so epic, man. And that was like that 20-minute, 30-minute sequence where they're in Erebor trying to hide from Smaug, and then they trap him in the gold, but it doesn't work, and then he escapes, and I am fire, I am death. And the film just ends as he's flying towards Lake Town. Boom! Yeah, it's great. I really like it. Like I said, the extended edition too. I think the Hobbit films are much better with the extended editions because I think they add so much more, and they did leave a lot on the cutting room floor. The theatrical versions of the Hobbit films aren't great. And honestly, if I was judging on the theatrical versions, I'd probably move that down and that down. But I think the extended versions are so much better, even though, like I said, it's a bloated trilogy that did not need to be a bloated trilogy when it's off one short book. But the extended editions, I think, are better than the theatrical versions. So it's a double-edged sword here. And on to the final Hobbit film, yes, the Battle of the Five Armies, which is gonna get A. I know some fans did not like it, but I thought it was solid enough. It had some really, really good battle scenes in. Like I said, the Battle of the Five Armies, where all the different armies show up to fight over Erebor after a bard shoots down Smaug at the beginning of the film in an epic confrontation at Lake Town. But like I said, so the orcs show up, the elves show up, the dwarves show up, there's Lake Town, and the fishermen, and of course Azog and Bolg show up with a massive army, and a big battle ensues for like literally the entire second half of the film. Or the middle of the film, whatever you want to call it, and it is really epic. The extended edition adds several battle sequences in that weren't in the theatrical version that make the film so much better, especially concerning the dwarves with their like their army tactics, siege tactics. It's so cool when they fire those spinning bolts that deflect the arrows, and they send in the goat cavalry. It's really cool, which we didn't get in the theatrical version. Honestly, I think the theatrical version of Battle of Five Armies is pretty bad. I'd probably put Battle of Five Armies theatrical version there. It's really bad. It just misses so much out. But the extended edition is so much better. It adds in Thorin's funeral at the end, which completely gets cut out. Of course, Thorin does die at the end of this film in an epic battle with Azog, but he takes Azog with him. What else was in this film? Oh yeah, when Galadriel faces off against Sauron, she goes all powerful queen and sends him back to Mordor. That was really cool. And it sets up Lord of the Rings where Saruman goes, "Leave Sauron to me." Bilbo was cool in the film. He was a little bit underused, I think, in this one, but he still does have some cool scenes. Him and Sword kicking ass, and yeah, the final battle is really, really cool. Gandalf saving the day at the end when the eagles come and wipe out the rest of the armies. But it's great. Some great battle scenes. Yeah, it is emotional when Bilbo's saying goodbye to the dwarves at the end, of course, saying farewell to Thorin when he's dying. And him and Gandalf go their separate ways at the end of the film until they meet again, of course, in Fellowship of the Ring 60 years later. Yeah, and the finale of the film when they play that that song sang the actor who played Pippin. It was like a farewell voyage of Lord of the Rings, and it was epic, yeah, because that capped off the entire thing. So yeah, the Hobbit trilogy, like I said, while not on the same level as Lord of the Rings, I still think it's a solid enough trilogy, especially the second and third films with the extended editions. Yeah, that's it. So before I finish, I have to talk about it, unfortunately. Yes, Rings of Power. Oh boy, honestly, I feel like season 1 and season 2 should be here. I think that's just the poster for season 1, because obviously season 2 just finished a few weeks ago. I'd put season 1 probably in D, even though But I'm going to judge it on both seasons that we've had now of Rings of Power. So of course, it's set like, what, 3,000 years before Lord of the Rings in the Second Age, when Sauron's rising to power after the death of Morgoth, and he's forging the rings of power with the help of Celebrimbor. Um, but I could talk for hours about Lord Rings of Power. It's not, I'm going to put it in C, and that's being generous. I think a lot of things are not great. It's not the same writers as Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson, I think, has had no say in it whatsoever. That apparently a lot of the lore doesn't match up. I've watched a lot of rant videos from like Tolkien enthusiasts. They're completely just ignoring Tolkien's lore, like certain things. A lot of the storylines, a lot of the characters I'm not interested in. I mean, it's not terrible. I don't hate it. It does have some redeeming qualities. I think some of the battle scenes are really cool, especially the Eregion siege in the end of season 2. That was pretty cool, I guess. The actor who plays Sauron, I think he's pretty cool. No, when he's disguised as Anatar, tricking Celebrimbor to make the Rings of Power. I think the actor who plays Durin, he was cool. Young Elrond is all right. But the Numenor stuff with the humans, I couldn't give a shite. The half-foot stuff, I didn't really care about. And then the reveal that the wizard fellow is Gandalf at the end, even though he's not meant to be around for another 1,000 years. Okay, it's a young Gandalf with Tom Bombadil guiding him like Yoda. It's like, okay, yeah, but Rings of Power for me, it's okay at best. I think, but nowhere doesn't get anywhere near the top tier here. Nowhere near. I think they're going to keep it going. Though I think it's because it's the most expensive TV show ever made. Amazon have sunk $1 billion into it, but they really need to hire new writers because it's just so mediocre. It's not terrible, but I think it's just bang average Rings of Power, and it sucks because it can't light a candle to that. It's meant to be setting up these films, of course, when because we know what's leading up to because we saw the beginning of the prologue, the Fellowship of the Ring. We know what's coming, the war of the three peoples where they go up against Sauron. But we know what happens, of course, when Isildur defeats Sauron and gets the ring, and that the rest is history. Then, of course, we got Fellowship of the Ring. So yeah, that is my review of the entire Lord of the Rings franchise, including Rings of Power. Maybe, just maybe, they can improve it in season 3 and season 4, but we'll see. We'll see. But everything else, yes, yeah, Hobbit 1, B, extended editions, like I said. Hobbit 2 and Hobbit 3, A. S tier, of course, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and S plus, Return of the King. Woo! So, yeah, guys, where would you rank the Lord of the Rings franchise, including the Hobbit films and Rings of Power? Comment below, let me know. Thank you all for watching, guys. Hope you all have a good week, and I'll see you all very soon.